Okay. All right. Welcome back, everyone. So we're going to take a few notes. We're going to do the last two problems on our practice semester test. The review guide. Remember, this is due on Monday when we're back. So you have a couple weeks with it. Make sure you make a copy of it. Make sure you take pictures if you need to, because remember, when you're back on Monday, you're going to turn it in to me. Okay, so that'll be at the end of class. We'll do a little review and problems maybe you forgot or you like to see again, how to work your calculators, because I haven't even answered a question that somebody asked the other day about how to use it. So we'll go through that. Semester test is on Tuesday, the day after, and then we're going to do a book check the day after that. So a physical book check. So you have to have your geometry textbook with the book cover on it, and I want to see the book numbers. So you have a little bit of time to go find where you have that book. Is it in the locker room? Is it in your normal locker? Is it in your car? Is it at home? Find it, bring it back. I'd just say bring it back Monday. That way you know where it's at. Okay? All late work is due tonight. So due tonight. Make sure you're getting all that stuff submitted on Google Classroom and stuff, and then I'll update it and stuff. That'll take me a while. I'll try to start tonight as soon as I can, because I know some of you have done a really nice job, and I'm sorry that I haven't got to it yet. So, so I'll be updating in that and whatnot. So, all right, questions though. Perfect. Let's jump right in. Obviously, we did 2 questions last Thursday, 3 yesterday. Let me turn this off. Okay, so we had 2 questions Thursday, 3 questions Friday, 2 questions Monday, and 2 questions yesterday. And so that took us up through, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Today we're doing 10 and 11. Okay, so this is the last day of review. Monday we're back. We'll use that as to kind of a wrap up on anything that you're not quite sure of, that maybe you forgot and you're kind of worried about. It's kind of a free-for-all question period. Okay, so we'll go through any type of problem, and I really want some different questions, so think about that over break. I will send you an email tonight that will be kind of clarifying these are the links to the review days. Review day number 1, questions this and this. Review day number 2. That way you have a direct email link, and you can just click the link and it'll take you right to that page, and you don't have to search my website, or maybe you forgot the address to it, or you just doesn't work for you. So I'll send you an email tonight, and I'll do that for every person, so you'll get a personal email from me. So just a reminder of that. Okay. Problem number 1 we did last Thursday. It's points, lines, and planes. Make sure you know how to write it. I'm very particular on the way that you write your answers. Number 2 is the one where you have to memorize a formula. This is the only formula you have to memorize for your practice guides, the distance formula. You got to know how to use your calculators and whatnot. So that might be a good question for today if we have a little bit of time, or Monday when we're back. Because I don't think I even answered how to do it on mine, so I got to remember we got to do that today. So don't forget. Remind me. 3 angles. Vertex, sides, supplementary, linear pair, vertical. Make sure you know how to write angles. The different polygons, polyhedra. Make sure you know your vocab: convex, concave, regular, irregular. The truth table. Percentages. Make sure you know how many columns you need and how the trues and falses work. 6, you'll get that practice, you'll get that study guide that has all the property names on it. Especially for those online, you'll have it as well. And then you'll have to simplify. It's 3-4 steps, something like that. It won't be too difficult. I just want to see that you know your property names or the generics for it. Okay. 7, this is your race format question. You'll have more space. I'm going to format it so it looks a little bit better. So I'll push them out of the way. But it's going to be one of these style of problems, the stuff that you had on the homework from last Thursday. So it'll be one of these midpoint problems. So just be kind of aware of what you're going to be asked to do. Okay. 8, it's the one we did yesterday. It's the one where you have to list off your type of angle: alternate interior, alternate exterior. Be very clear on what type it is. Don't abbreviate. Write out the entire type. Okay, you'll have 5 answers. You're not going to use every word in the word bank, because obviously there's 6 words up there. You may use a word more than once. It's fine. You can do that. It's not limited to only one and done kind of a thing. All right, so be aware. 9, this is one we finished on. This is one, the homework from last Tuesday and Wednesday, where you had to find, X and stuff from the parallel lines. Alternate interiors, alternate exteriors, corresponding same side interior. Just know how to set it up and how to solve for X, solve for Y. It'll be something like that. It'll be a picture very close to this. So, all right, questions at all about what you're going to be asked to do so far? Perfect. And again, that's Tuesday, January 5th. Okay, today we have 10 and 11. They're system problems. Systems, like this. Number 10 here will be a graphing problem. So if you're at home via Zoom taking this test, I know that's inconvenient. You'll have to draw a little grid to yourself, a little graph paper. grid, and then you're going to draw the best you can, and you just have to get as accurate as possible. I know that's not convenient if you're at home drawing, but just draw the grid on your separate sheet of paper, and then you'll remember when you're on, if you're zooming testing for me, you'll just take pictures of your work at the very end with your cell phone and make them very clear, and you'll just you'll submit that to me on Google Classroom. So you'll have to add those pictures. Okay, but yeah, let's jump right in here. I'm going to kind of walk you through this. I'm going to do the first one for you right now. The first one, that's this one right here. I'm going to graph this one for you. Then I want you to attempt to try the second one by yourself. And then we're going to come, and I'll give you a few minutes to try that, and then we're going to talk about how you drew yours. Does that make sense? So you can watch me do mine, you can do your line on the same graph, and then we're going to try to figure out where did they cross. Okay, so I want you to get a chance to try one. So let's do this first one together. So this is the 2x plus y equals 5. Okay, so here's how this one works. I want to get it into this form. Y equals mx plus b. That's called slope-intercept form. It's the way that I like to graph. It's the easiest way to do this. So what I need to do is get the y by itself. So in my case, I'm going to move this 2x across the equal sign because I want to get the y by itself. The good news is for both of these equations, there's no number in front of the y. If there was a number in front of y, you'd have to do that step next. But I'm going to move the 2x over. What happens if I move the 2x over? Becomes a negative. So I have a y equals, and it's just a 1y. There's no number in front of it. It's positive. When I move the 2x over, it becomes a negative 2x, and then the 5 on the other side is still positive. Do you see how this mimics this form right here? Now I can graph it. It's super easy to graph this type of line. This is the y, it's in the y equals mx plus b form. This is my m. It's my slope. You make it a fraction. It's negative 2 over 1. That's how you make that number a fraction. If it's already a fraction, maybe you have to divide by the number in front of y and it makes it a fraction, leave it a fraction. But if it's not a fraction, like a whole number like this, just put a 1 on the bottom of it. And then the other number on the other side, this number right here, this is my b number. This is the y-intercept. It's where you start on the y-axis. It's a big fancy word for find the y-axis and find the number 5 or whatever. Maybe your number is negative. Find that number. I'm going to find positive 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the y-axis. Can you see my dot up there? It's on the y-axis, 5 up. Because it's positive 5. If it was negative, I'd just go down. It's on the y-axis, not the x, the y. They're labeled, so you should know that. And then my slope, what does slope stand for? What's the fraction mean? What's the top number? What's the bottom number?
Rise over run.
Rise over run. That's what they tell you in algebra class, right? So that means since it's negative, instead of rising, I'm actually falling 2, and then I'm running 1 to the right. It always goes to the right. So falling 2. So fall 2, drop 2, and run 1, drop 2, run 1, drop 2, run 1, drop 2, run 1. You get the idea. And then I can draw my line. Okay, blue is probably not the best color to be using right now, but hopefully you guys can see that. Okay. Does that make sense for the first one? Is there any questions? Okay, I'm gonna give you maybe 2 minutes here. Not even 2 minutes. Go try to draw the next one. We're going to go over it. I just want to give you a chance to do it on your own. Okay? Maybe you already finished it. Try it out. Okay? Put my little mask on. Let me switch that desk. Sorry for you. The desk is like turn around. Oh. I think it's mechanical. You're okay with that? I've had a colored pencil. Not bad. Okay. Sorry, bud. Yeah, so you move it forward. It becomes positive. Yeah, we move it. Yep. Yep. Yep, we'll go over it here in a second, but yep, I'll walk around. Sorry. And I'll check it if you want. We're going to go over it here in a second. Yeah, if you want me to look at it. By all means. Okay, about 30 more seconds. Hopefully you can get that graph. Okay. All right, so let's talk about yours. Don't worry, I took a screenshot of this, so I'll post that on the website. Okay. So your equation, oh geez, what am I doing? There we go. Okay, so this is yours. Can somebody walk through what do we need to do first, please?
Add 4x.
Add the 4x across, right? So that becomes a positive 4x. Okay, good. Now what?
Graph it.
Graph it. Okay, so let's talk about the graphing. Where do I need to start?
-1.
-1. This number in the y equals mx plus b form stands for what?
Y-intercept.
Y-intercept. It's where it hits the y-axis. So it's a -1. That's what that little b stands for. So I'm going to start at -1 down here. So it's on the y-axis, find -1. So it's dropping, right? Now, the slope. That's this number, right? Slope. How do I make that a fraction?
You put a 1 underneath the 4.
Good. And what does the fraction stand for? Or? There you go. That's what I'm looking for. You're right. It is slope. Rise over run, right? Now, it's positive. So, the top number is positive. It's a positive 4. So, you're going up 4 and over 1. And we always go to the right, no matter what. So, from this dot, that yellow dot that I just drew, I'm going up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. I can already tell you where they crossed. Right? They landed right on a dot. You can see it. In fact, I'll zoom in on that just so you can see that here in a second. And then I go up 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. And you don't need to do that. I'm just doing this for the purpose so I can see the drawing. All right, there you go. Now, if I zoom in on that dot for you guys, what is that coordinate where they crossed? 1, 3. Yep, because when you read off coordinates, you have to read over like the right and left number first, so it's going to the right 1 and then up 3. That's where they cross. This is that point of intersection. That's the goal, right? That's what we wanted to get to. 1, 3. Does that make sense? Okay. You'll be asked to do pretty much almost the exact same thing in your number 10. Graph something. The only difference that could happen is if they had, I'm going to make this up. Let's say that they had a number out front. So you did all your work, right? But your problem looked like this. I would move the x over just like you guys have been doing, right? And I'm making this problem up just so you're aware. And then you divide everything by 2. So this would be -3 over 2x. Plus 6 divided by 2, right? If there's this number in front of y, you have to divide that last. And then this turns out to be a nice clean number. It could be a decimal. You just start on that dot, and then the slope is still 3 over 2 negative. So, all right, I'll take a screenshot of that. Okay, remove. Question?
How do you know like what way when you're graphing it, which way the line should go?
Like up, down, right, left, tilting kind of a thing.
Yeah.
The slope tells you. So the idea is that you should know where to start, right? The y-axis. But the slope, that number that's in front of the x, tells you if you're going like up or down, and it always goes to the right. That's how it always works. So if it's negative, you're dropping and going to the right. If it's positive slope, it goes up and to the right. That's how I always think of it. Yeah, good question. Any other questions? That was good though. Okay, let's do the last one. We don't have a lot of time here. I think we have like a couple minutes here. Oh yeah, we got 7 minutes here. We're good. Roughly. We're at 51, right? Yeah. 4 minutes. It's overestimated a little bit. All right. This is the. This is still a. Oh, geez, I'm really zoomed in. Sorry. Apologies. Okay. This one is a system problem. It's an elimination problem or a substitution problem. It's however you'd like to solve it. You can use any method you like. I'm going to do elimination because that's what this one kind of hints at, because it's probably the method you should use on this one. You could move the 4y over and do it by sub because the x is by itself. But I'm going to leave it like it is, and then I'm going to draw a line, And we're going to go through the process of doing the elimination method. So we have to pick a letter, X or Y's. Y's, okay, good. Let's pick those. We're going to pick Y's. Hopefully that wasn't a question, but actual statement there. All right, we're going to pick a Y. And then we want to make these the same number. So it's a 3 and a 4. What do we want to make them? 12s, probably. It's a good number to pick. You can make them 24s. You can make them really any number you want. 60s for all I care. Let's make them 12s. So on the top row, I'm going to multiply everything by 4 to make that a 12. On the bottom row, I'm going to multiply everything by 3. That way it makes the Y, the letter you guys chose, the same digit. So if I multiply everything by 4 on the top row, I get 8x, 12y, and a 28 on the other side, because I have to multiply everything by 4. On the bottom row, if I multiply by 3, what do we get? 3x. 12y, because that should make the 12s, right? That's the number you chose. And what's the other number on the other side? What is that? 39.
And there always has to be a positive and a negative.
Yes, so that's the good news. So we don't have to change one of the we don't have to change one of the rows, because like he said, the letter you chose, you have to make them the same digit, and one has to be positive, one has to be negative. So if one of them isn't negative, just make the whole row negative. So, all right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add straight down, because they're already opposites. The 12s are already opposites, so if you add straight down, I get 11x. These cancel out, which is what we want to have happen. It eliminated. And on the other side, we have a negative 11. What's my last step here? Divide by 11, right? We're going to divide both sides by an 11. So divide by an 11, divide by an 11, and we get negative 1. So there's my coordinate. My x was a negative 1. How do I find the y? Yeah, to plug it back in. You have to take your negative 1 and plug it back in. You have to plug it back into an x location. So it doesn't really matter which equation. I'm just going to pick the top one. Doesn't matter which equation you pick. Take your negative 1 and plug it back into the right letter. So it's going to go in here. And then you just solve for the y. So this makes negative 2. You're going to add this 2 across. All right, because if you move it across the equal sign, it has to add. Has to, go opposite, so that makes 9. And what is my y going to end up being? A 3. You divide, you get a 3. Because you have to divide. Again, that's just simple algebra once you plug it back in. The goal of that question, right, if you want to know, like, why are we doing that problem, it's to find this. This is like the overall goal. It's to figure out that point of intersection like we did with graphing without having to go draw it. That's the whole point. Again, there's 2 different methods, elimination or sub. You'll get to choose whichever one you want. Question?
I did, so I found y for
Okay.
x.
Yeah.
I got 1 for x.
Should be negative 1. Did you have a negative sign wrong? So you made x's the same digit, right? So you made them what, both 2s? Can I look at your work? All right. Hey, have a great winter break. Happy holidays to everyone. So, happy birthday.
Thank you. Oh, I don't know. They're usually
7 minus 9. That should be a negative 2.
Oh, yeah, that's why I got that one. Alright, thanks for
Yeah. Happy holidays, guys. Don't let me forget. We got to go over the calculator stuff when we're back. So, we'll get through it. All right.
Kennedy Frame, please come to the office. Kennedy Frame, please come to the office.
What I'll do is I'll post the video as normal, and then Monday when we're back, we're reviewing, we'll just go over that little lesson.
So move that to Thursday?
Yes.
I'm gonna start that with.
I'm still gonna have the video online because I'll have my preliminary calc anyway. So you guys can always go through it on your own, but we'll review it on that Monday. That's why I built that day in on that purpose. That was for that.
Jake, you're looking good.
went last night.
I mean, it was solid.
I think it was just a temporary time.
Yeah, that's true, but
You guys were firing all cylinders from like the first go.
Oh, yeah.
otherwise.
Right, so that's what threw me for a loop, is like, what am I kids are watching this movie? Oh.